Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session on writing a compelling graduate statement of purpose. If I could just request everyone to keep yourselves muted and so that there is no background noise. Before we begin, I would just like to make a few housekeeping announcements. So one is use your headphones for good audio quality. That will help you listen better. As I said, please keep your microphones muted throughout the presentation. There will be time for questions at the end of the presentation. So you are welcome to write in questions in the chat box. This will only be seen by the host and co-hosts. Do feel free to write your questions. I would suggest wait to hear the presentation because many of your questions might get addressed during the presentation. So wait to hear the presentation. And then, as it draws towards the end, you can start writing in your questions. Also towards the end, I will be talking about Education USA India services, and we will at that stage post useful links and email addresses in the chat box. So do look out for those resources at the end of the presentation. Now, this session is part of the Education USA India at Camp series. This is a series that goes through the different steps in the application process. And we are on the 6th session on writing a statement of purpose. There are 2 more sessions coming up. Next week will be specifically for undergraduate applications on the financial aid forms, and the week after that will be for interviews. So if you're a grad applicant, especially if you're applying to a PhD or business programs where there are interviews, do feel free to attend the session on October 6th, and you will have a good insight into the interviewing process. Now, before I begin, I'd also like to introduce our organization, our network, Education USA. Education USA is your official source on US higher education. It is a US State Department network. That is, the US State Department is part of the US government, so it is a US government network. And it provides accurate, comprehensive, and current information to students looking to pursue higher education in the US. This is a global network, so there are over 430 centers in over 170 countries. And there are 8 centers in 7 cities in India. We are located in Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Chennai. There are 2 centers in Hyderabad, and then in Kolkata, Mumbai, and New Delhi. So at the end of this presentation, I will be putting up the contact information of all 8 centers, and you are very welcome to take a screenshot and contact the center nearest you for more in-depth advice on your application. Now, we divide the application process into 5 steps. These are research your options, finance your studies, complete your application, apply for your student visa, and prepare for your departure. And this app camp has been, walking you through the process of these application steps. I hope by now that you have already been shortlisting your universities and making your financial plan. And at this stage, you should be looking into preparing your application package. And that's where this session comes in. We will be advising you on writing the statement of purpose, which is a very critical part of the graduate application. So let me introduce our panelists for today. First, I will introduce myself. I'm Deborah Rosario. I'm an Education USA advisor at the Mumbai office at USIEF Mumbai, and I will be your moderator for the session. And I am very pleased to introduce our 2 panelists, Agustina Fernandez-Moya, who is the Director of Engineering Professional Master's Programs at the George R. Brown School of Engineering at Rice University, and Erica Miner, who is the Graduate Admissions Recruiter at Binghamton University, State University of New York. So a very warm welcome to you, Agustina and Erica. With this, I will hand over to Agustina, I believe, who begins this session on writing a statement of purpose.
So welcome, everyone. Thank you, Deborah. Hi, Erica. So we're going to talk about the statement of purpose. I know that you're applying and you want to know what is it. So one of the major components of an application is a statement of purpose. Why? It's a critical piece because it's a narrative of your application. It tells you who you are, what your interests are, and how you will add value to the program. Most of the programs you would like to apply, like MBA, PhD, or any professional master's, is going to ask a statement of purpose. And the statement of purpose will complement your grades, your transcripts, and the curriculum or the resume. So it's something different from that. And one of the great things about this tool is that will help the review committee, all the faculty, learn more about yourself and see if you're a good fit for the program and the university. Another thing we need to take into account is that the information you include on the statement of purpose is information you can't find anywhere. So it says like cannot be explicit or find anywhere. For example, who you are, what is your passion, what are your goals, any interest you might have. So those are the things you will add on this statement of purpose. And there are different ways to write the statement of purpose, and you need to take into account and read carefully and double check the instructions and the points to be addressed by the university. Because, for example, some universities, what they do is they ask questions and you have to answer those questions in an essay format. So think about, read carefully, because if the first thing they ask you, you don't do what they ask, that's problematic too. So read carefully, double check, answer the questions they ask. And one of the things they were asking me, how long do I have to write? Also, that's there on the instructions. It can be more or less from 500 to 1,000 words, 1 page. Some universities may accept 2 pages, and then the font maybe 11, 12. Some universities are very specific. So what you need to do is try to check on the application format of the university to see if there's any specific requirements regarding the statement of purpose. One of the things also I put there is time consuming. This is not something you just write from one day to another. Something you have to take your time. Some students maybe take 3 months writing it. They write, they let it be, so they keep, then they grab it. For example, my daughter is applying to college and she has already 7 versions of the statement of purpose. She also, one of the things I suggest you do is give your statement of purpose to friends or family just to read it. Because, for example, my daughter gave it to me and my husband, and I understood one thing and my husband the other one. So then she arranged it in a way that it was more clear. So one of the things you have to do is also give it to different people just to see if they understand your idea. One of the things is key also is proofread, polish, proofread, because it has to be perfect, no errors, because sometimes this is the only writing sample you will provide the university. So it's a big thing if you have errors or grammatical typos and everything. So try to look at that and think about, like, for example, at RISE, we have the Center for Career Development or the Center for Oral and Written Communication that students go and help and ask for help with their proofreading and editing their essays. And also, even some faculty can help you proofread and organize the ideas. So think about those resources you might have close to you and take advantage of that, because it's very important. And so don't forget about that thing. Next. Okay. So before you start, and I like this process, I put the face and a lot of, like, a big cloud over this guy's face. thinking, reflecting, self-knowledge. Okay, so before you start, take some time to think about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What inspires you? Do you have the skills needed to pursue the degree? Why do you believe you are successful? And start writing down all the things, all your qualities, and all the things you have done. I don't know, for example, if you love singing, photo contest, anything you can imagine, just put it down. So then it can be helped depending on the university you're applying. You can take something from what you have written down. And also think about different stories that you might have encountered. Some, for example, if you had any problem, how you overcame, was there an obstacle? How did I use all my strength to overcome that obstacle? And if you have negative situations, tell them in a positive way so they can know that you have the strength and you have a lot of abilities to overcome any problem you might encounter. And then think about your academic and professional timeline. I will start since high school. Think about, were you in an academic fair? Do you like science fairs? Did you do any internship? And then go all the way till today and think about all the experiences. And most, like the most important thing I would say is think about different ways you can show them that you stand out, that you are the perfect fit, how you will attract them. So that's one of the things you have to think about. But most of all, you have to be honest. Don't make up things, because as I say, lives have very short legs. So just be honest, true to yourself, and tell them your story. And that's what they want to hear. So now we have to talk about the structure. As I was talking before, this is a general structure, but some universities may ask for a different questions you can structure in a different way. But generally speaking, this is what everyone writes, how they write. So first of all, we're talking about the introduction. And this is your welcome card. So you have to be very enthusiastic, show that you're curious, has to be very engaging, because the first sentences they read, you need to make that's your first impression. So you need to be very engaging while writing this introduction. And here you will explain your background, your interests, your motivations, and also discuss the long-term goals, why you're interested in the area of the program you want to pursue, and also what's the program you're applying to and why you want that program. So that's one of the things you need to think about here in the introduction. Then it comes the academic and professional path. So here, everyone suggests 2 paragraphs. So start from where you think you had the first trigger to go to grad school. What was that situation that triggered you to continue learning? So you, as I said before, you can start maybe talking from high school when you were at science fairs, you had internships or any academic competition, if you have any research position, and then keep on going with jobs, any maybe senior project you have at school. So it's important to show you here that you have learned and how you improve yourself with all these experiences you learned. And one of the things when we look at applications, we see here, it's you need to provide examples how, for example, you can work independently, or you're very good with teamwork, your critical thinking, your communication skills. And for example, this is very important. I work at the School of Engineering, and one of the things that we emphasize a lot is the way the communication skills, because you can learn, you can know a lot, you may be a genius, but if you don't know how to communicate the ideas, how to express yourself, that will be difficult for you to express and show your work. So we look at a lot at that, and we also help students with communication skills, because you can use it anywhere. So that's very important, and think about that. And all the points here you mentioned in these 2 paragraphs, they have to be aligned with the specific of the program you're applying to. So that's why I told you before, when you do your brainstorming session, put everything you learned, your skills. So then you can pick what is most suitable for the program you're applying to and the university you're applying to. I don't know, if there's a program that requires a lot of teamwork, okay, put examples how you overcome that. Or if there's a coding, how you learn coding, or how you self-taught, So different examples that can be related to the program you're applying to. So that's one of the things. And also, this is the place when you can talk about describe any problem and how you overcame, and also learning from the mistakes, like give examples, because that shows that your honesty and your resilience. So that's one of the things we also want to see, because going to grad school, some courses and programs are very tough, and you have to study a lot and dedicate a lot. So we want students who can bear that. And and as I said before, everything should be written in a positive way. So that's one of the things you need to think about. Next. So when talking about the specific of the program, so usually this is 1 paragraph, and I suggest you do the research of the university and the program. All the universities have different styles. They look for different things. Some are more global, others not. Some do this, some do that. And you have to show evidence that you did your homework and study in depth of the program. Here is the part that maybe you can talk about what you like, the courses you like about the program, any research faculty are doing, and also show the motivation of the courses and the content of the program. So professors like to see students that are very motivated and driven and would love to do the program. So those are the candidates we look for, someone that will do what it takes to be at the university and give the most, because that's how we want students that love the place and are successful. So I think that's one of the key items here. And then finally, a conclusion. And this is, think about in a short paragraph, the most important thing you want to say. And this short paragraph summarizes your story and also reinforces the idea of your wish to attend this university and that program. So that's how you need to end. And as I said, different universities have different requirements, but if you look at the different universities and on the graduate program section, for example, at Rice, we have a graduate studies section that we have different resources on how to write a letter of recommendation, about letters of recommendation, about statement of purpose. So I suggest you go to the different universities you're applying to and look at the different options and little courses they have about the statement of purpose, so you get an idea of what they are looking for. So I am done here, and I will give the word to Erica.
Thank you, Agustina. Yeah, just reiterating that, like you were saying, different universities do things a little bit differently. For example, this is just a sample statement of purpose template that Binghamton has, very similar to everything Agustina just went over, about, making sure you're stating your goals, why you want to pursue this degree, what you want to do with it, highlighting any success you have, always being positive. And I think it's very important to explain, why the program is a good fit, and being very specific to the school to which you're applying, and not having a blanket not having a blanket statement of purpose that you're giving to every single school. So just making sure you are tailoring it to the school, that if you're applying to many, to research that school and to make sure that you're talking about the institution, you're talking about any faculty that you want to work with, and things like that. So again, yeah, this is just another form of a template that you could use. Next. So you should also really be thoughtful about the details that you want to include to make sure that they're of interest to your reviewers. So you need to think through about how you're going to incorporate them. So here's an example on this page. So, we can see this kind of weak statement of purpose. It's very general. It's not, it's a statement of purpose sentence, sorry. It's not giving the full sense of actual duties that the student have. So if we look at the strong statement of purpose, it incorporates the length of time the student spent working, particular tasks the students was responsible for, and how that experience ultimately led to the decision to enroll in that specific program. So you really want to make sure you give relevant details in your sentences. There are probably a ton of other duties that this person might have had at this job, but the ones that they felt were relevant are the fundraising and community planning, just because that goes along with the program that they're interested in. So again, really thinking through about the particular information about the program that you're applying is going to be, and what's going to be interesting to the reviewers that are looking at your application. Next. And so these are just some things that you should do or make sure you include in your statement of purpose. So one of the most important things we talked about, maybe there is a specific prompt or something specific that the school is looking for. So to make sure that you answer that in your statement of purpose. So pay attention, answer any questions that the prompt asks or encourages you to include. So sometimes if there is no prompt, it's difficult to know what you should include. So using those templates, the template that I put before and what Augustina went over, that's always really helpful. So this is really your opportunity to stand out. So really try to think about what makes you different. We always encourage you to consider speaking with the director on campus or the program. Always reaching out to faculty is a good idea. They're very helpful for tips and for feedback. So if you're not sure what makes you stand out, ask. Your current directors or professors can help with that too. Another thing I would encourage you to think about is giving the right kind of details, giving context to your work. Always make sure you include details when talking about your experience. I have examples here at the bottom where maybe you want to communicate that you have some experience in the classroom. So you can give a very standard or blanket statement, kind of what we saw before in the first example, versus in the second example, showing not only really good writing skills, but giving more context to your work. So the second statement on this slide really shows that you are actively involved in many aspects of working in a classroom. And so you want to convey you have a certain experience. So just adding a little bit more context to a statement can really speak volumes to your abilities. Next. So it's really important to talk, we're going to drive this home today. It's really important to talk about the fit between you and the institution to which you're applying, or even the faculty members that you want to work for. Some graduate programs are going to offer opportunities that are course-based, while others are going to focus on pairing you up with a faculty member for research purposes. So part of what you want to include in this statement is a recognition of whichever scenario it is. So if the program is more research-based or faculty-focused, you'll want to include, which faculty members you are interested in working with and why. You'll state how your research interests align with that professor, as well as what about that particular program or institution that really interests you. So really making sure that it's clear, you've done your research, and you're generally interested in the program. You can get information on the program and the faculty by going to websites, reaching out to recruiters. Most programs have a mission statement. So, look at what they emphasize, strong connection with students, strong academic coursework, focus on evidence-based practice, anything. So this will help you give an idea of what the department is looking for. You'll also really want to make sure you focus on your academics. What did you accomplish in your previous institutions? Augustina mentioned before, mentioning any setbacks that you may have encountered. If you have a difficult semester, if your GPA was low, it's always good to acknowledge those, since those reviewing your application will see these anyway. They're going to look on your resume, they're going to look on your transcript. So incorporating that into your statement of purpose will allow it to give you context. So bringing that up is fine. I would just say, make sure to talk about how you were, able to learn from it. And also maybe not spending too much time on mentioning any setbacks, but they're really important to address. And some other things, not only thinking about research or coursework that you have done, but including any work experience that you may have. Are there jobs that you had in high school or in college, or maybe you're taking a gap year in between school? Some of the jobs may not be relevant, but when you really think about what makes a successful graduate student, there may be skills like project management, dealing with people, stressful situations. So I would definitely encourage you to consider everything that you have done in terms of extracurriculars and jobs, internships, and really think about what are the most relevant. Another thing for research-based programs is to have a really well thought out and detailed sense of your own research interests. Of course, as an undergraduate student, you're not really going to have that fully figured out. You're still gaining experience in labs and different fields. And graduate school is really going to offer you a lot of experience in what you're interested in. But graduate programs are going to be more attuned to applicants who at least have a starting point and not only know the field that they're interested, for example, psychology, but also the subfield that they're interested, like cognitive psychology, just kind of getting more detailed, more specifics, and having some experiences that you can point to would be helpful. Next. So now this is just some things, what to include, or what not to include, sorry, while writing your statement of purpose. So a lot of people like to use quotes in their writing. I would say in a small number of circumstances that's going to work. So you really want to focus using your own words. Your statement of purpose should not focus on anything like amenities or funding. This is something left to discuss in interviews after your application is received in a separate conversation. So also think about the fact that a lot of this information is going to be readily available through the other materials that you submit with your application. So you don't need to say what your GPA is. That's going to be seen in your transcripts. You don't need to repeat verbatim what's on your resume. I've actually seen that a lot of where, you do write these great little blurbs for your resume, and then they're just used on the statement of purpose as well. So rather just, think of how the statement of purpose can enhance or highlight things that are already going to be visible on your transcript or resume. There is a fine balance of how much detail to include or how personal to get as well. So I think you really want to consider what seems appropriate for the graduate community to know about you and about how much detail to give. And of course, you certainly want to make sure you review it, make sure you don't have any grammatical or spelling errors. You can always have someone else review it, take it to a career center. I think there's no maximum amount of times that this can definitely be reviewed. Next slide. Okay, so just a couple writing tips. We talked about the relaxation and the contemplation and, thinking about what you want to write about. So, how do you make this process go as smooth as possible? So definitely start early. Doctoral programs usually have application deadlines around late November, early December, January. So, and that would be to start in the fall of the next year. For master's programs, typically the deadlines will be February or March. So if you're thinking about, honestly, either of these situations, but starting now would be your best case scenario. Again, make sure you are concise, not going off on tangents, sticking to what you're prompted, if you have a prompt, also paying attention to word limits or page limits. Sometimes they say 1 page, 2 page, or it could be 500 word limits. Normally, if there isn't a word limit, we usually say, we usually go by pages. So we usually say 2 pages max if there is not a word limit for you, 1 to 2 pages at least. So, as we stated earlier, make sure you do your research and proofread. Consider, as you are proofreading as well, consider if the information is relevant as a graduate student to that program. For example, you might have had a really amazing study abroad experience, but does that really relate to any of the skills that you need in the graduate program you're interested in? Again, seek feedback. I know we'll always say a lot of things we're going to drive home today. Just making sure you're proofreading, getting feedback from professors. Always use the right university name. Yes, we've seen that a couple times. And then it's a fit. It's a fit thing. Why do you want to go here? Why are you looking at Binghamton or Rice? What really makes you interested in wanting to come here? Next slide. Okay, so that's it for statement of purpose. We're just going to go over a little bit about our universities. So I'm a representative for Binghamton University. You may or may not be aware of where we're located. So New York State is the state in the dark green right there in the middle. We're located in the northeast of the United States. And then on the the right top, that's where we are. We're located in what is referred as the southern tier of New York. We're about a 3 to 4 hour drive from major cities, including New York City and Philadelphia. Next slide. Okay, and so we have over 90 academic programs in 6 unique schools and colleges. So there's Binghamton University, and then there's 6 separate schools or colleges within the university. We have Harper College of Arts and Sciences, so that has our fine arts, humanities, science and mathematics, social sciences. We have our School of Management, which has our MBA program as well as accounting. We have the Watson College of Engineering and Applied Sciences. We many degrees in there, including computer science, information systems, industrial engineering. Our Decker College of Nursing and Health Sciences has a variety of different nursing programs, from family nursing to psychiatric. We have a School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. And then also we have the College of Community and Public Affairs. This has a variety of public service degrees, including social work and student affairs. Next slide. So we have a total enrollment of around 18,000 students. Graduate students make up just about 4,000 of that. Our international graduate students, 36%. We did figure out it's about 20% that come from India. And like I said, we have 90 academic programs. About 60 of them are graduate or master's programs, and 30 are doctoral programs. There's many student clubs and organizations. The biggest is the Indian Graduate Student Organization. And all of these student clubs and organizations are run by students. And we like to boast that we're kind of a mid-size university. So we're kind of small enough to provide that sense of community, but we're big enough to really satisfy a lot of different interests and programs. And we are a Research One institution. So we have lots of labs and lots of research that happen on our campus. And next, yeah.
So now we'll talk about Rice University. Rice is, a comprehensive research university, and we are located in Houston, Texas. And we have around 3,000 graduate students from more than 40 countries. That's the beauty of Rice. It's similar to Binghamton. Well, it's not that, it's smaller than yours, but the great thing about that is the student faculty ratio. That's a good thing. And being a small university, we are very connected to each other. So that's a great thing. Next slide. So Houston, it's the most populous city in the United States. It's very affordable, as Erica was talking about the low cost. Students look also at the cost of living, and it's very easy living, and you get a lot for your bucks. And if like we have a very big community here, and people are from everywhere. It's very international, and you can, for example, find food from all over the world. I'm from Argentina, so I have my Argentinian restaurants, restaurants with Indian food, and it's a huge community of students from India. And also, as you were saying, we have the student associations, and that's the beauty of it, that you are not at home, like you're far from home, but you feel at home, and that's how I feel there too. So Houston also, it's a great opportunity when you think after work, you know, after the program, it's a great opportunity for STEM workers. For example, I'm here at the School of Engineering. It's a great, we call it the energy capital of the world. We have the medical center too. And it's a very, very nice place to live. Next. And just a little bit facts about Rice. It's a top 5 private universities in the US. It's the second most international university. And I was talking about the student-faculty ratio. That's a great thing about it, the interaction. We really praise that and try to connect with the students and make them feel at home. I know what, especially with international students, because I know what it feels to be outside of your country and in another place. So we really like to make everyone feel at home. And we have a lot of resources and the quality of life. There was one ranking, you know, everyone talks about ranking, is one of the happiest place to be. So, you know, a lot of kids are laughing, and it's not only about learning. They also have fun, and there are different places around campus and inside campus with events that they can hang out, students. So that's a great thing, because they have a lot of social life. Next. So we have we have the School of Humanities, the School of Social Sciences, School of Engineering, Business, Architecture, Continuing Studies, and Natural Sciences. We have professional master's programs that are non-thesis degrees. We have thesis masters, and then we have PhDs. If you are admitted to a PhD at Rice, you have you don't need to pay tuition, and you get a stipend. So that's a great thing about it. I think some universities do that. Is yours, Erica, too?
Yes, yes, it is. Yeah, all PhDs are fully funded.
Yes, if you're thinking about research, also, if you want to pursue a PhD, that's a great thing to do, because you don't have to pay tuition, and then you get a stipend. So that's another thing. But then we have the short programs that are professional masters, 3 semesters, or the thesis masters that are for the ones who want to do some research and then maybe go to a PhD. But we also have that to offer. Next, I think I'm done. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Agustina and Erica, for that wonderful presentation. In just a few minutes, I'm going to open the floor for questions. So do feel free to send in your questions via the chat. Before we take audience questions, I have a few questions of my own as well that I'd like to address. And then, of course, we will take audience questions too. But before we come to the time for questions, I will just quickly brief you on how you can connect further with Education USA. So Education USA India conducts many different kinds of sessions. There are sessions like these, which are specialized information sessions that take place periodically. There are also free Ask an Advisor sessions that take place every day during the week. So for all of these sessions, you can connect to our calendar of events. The link is on the screen. You can also sign up to get Education USA updates. The link once again is on the screen, and we are also going to put these links into the chat. Some centers are also conducting in-person sessions, fairs, and other events like that. So you are welcome to contact the center nearest you to learn and look up the calendar to learn what might be happening near you. We also have a national toll-free helpline that you can contact Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We also have individual advising memberships. These are for students who are going through the application process. You can sign up with us and become a member, and you get one-on-one guided advising with a US State Department trained Education USA advisor. You get guidance through the shortlisting process, writing the essays, drafting your resume. There's even guidance. We connect you with guidance on the visa process, and there's guidance on your pre-departure preparation as well. So this is an end-to-end process right from the start of your application process through to the time you go to the US for your studies. There is guidance available through this membership. So once again, do contact the center nearest you. We have an Education USA India mobile app that has a lot of useful resources. So do download the app. It's available both for Apple and Android phones. We have a YouTube channel also called Education USA India. And we encourage you to go ahead and look up our YouTube channel. There are lots of sessions that are recorded and put up on the YouTube channel. So you can find guidance on the different steps in the application process, on different fields of study, and on various features of US university life and the different steps in the application process and guidance on the different pathways to US study. So do look up the YouTube channel. Finally, almost nearing the end here, as I said at the start, this is a session in a series called the Education USA India Application Camp. And the next session is on undergraduate financial aid applications. So if by any chance there is an undergraduate applicant in the audience, you should really attend the session, but I expect most of you will be graduate applicants. So for you, the next session will be the session on October 6th, which is on interview tips. So do feel free to attend that session. And finally, I want to put up our contact information for all the Education USA India centers. Do feel free to take a screenshot of the slide and contact the center nearest you. And you can discuss your application with them, find out what's going on at the center, virtual events, in-person events, and so on. And so I'll just leave that on. Do feel free to take a screenshot and you can contact the center nearest you. And now I'm going to change slides to the last slide. We are now going to move to a time for questions. I also encourage you, if you have questions that are not addressed during this time, or you have specific questions about the universities or your own case, do feel free to reach out to us. So I've put all our email addresses up there. There's an email address for Education USA India, and Augustina and Erica have been kind enough to have their email addresses also up for Rice University and Binghamton University. So do feel free to reach out. We request that you keep your questions more general, which will benefit all students in this session. And if you have case-specific questions, then you can address them privately to the relevant person. And with this, we will now begin our time for questions. I'm going to just, since we still have time before before 7 in India, I'm going to start with a few questions of my own. The one I want to start with is something that Erica touched on, that is that information is also being provided in the application, in the CV or the resume. And a problem that students often run into when they write the statement of purpose is that it just becomes a laundry list of I did this and I did that, So I know you've touched on this in different ways in your own presentations, but could you summarize and highlight again, what are the ways that to make an SOP different that don't make it a CV in paragraph form? How is the SOP different from a CV? If you could both speak to that question.
Yeah, I think it's, really expanding upon, one, so you're looking at a CV, for example, there was an internship that you had. So you're going to obviously list the things that you did in your internship. But, maybe talking about a process, maybe you worked on something with data and you created a database to find out, I don't know, something that you were interested in. So really going into going more in depth than what is on your resume, and talking about, the steps you took, what you learned from it. Because normally on a resume, you don't say, I learned from this job this. So really it's going to be more about what you're going to take from that position or take from that internship or something that is on your resume or transcript or class. Yeah, what you're going to take from that class and what you learned and how you want to apply that to your graduate studies.
Yeah, and as Erica's example that I loved it, I just worked with special need kids for 2 years, that's it. And here, no, the way how they paraphrase it and they route the passion behind it, because you need to tell them the story. They already have the facts. So think about what motivated you to do that. So show the interest behind it. So I like that comparison. And also in the internet and the website, you can find other examples that can help you organize your ideas in a different way, like more in a narrative than just throwing the fact.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now we have a double-barreled question. One is, it's very common in introductions, especially at least in India, to refer to some childhood incident, which was the start of the interest in the subject. So one question is, are these childhood incidents relevant in an SOP? And the other is, what are other ways of introducing, besides going back to your childhood,
So I can start. I think when writing your introduction, you can have, for example, I don't know, you attended a science fair in high school and that triggered the lab for space studies. So I think it's a way also how you write it and explain, like, or my dad is a doctor, so I was breathing medicine since I was a kid. Like it's the way you do it. It does, I think, because, for example, I don't know if that happened to me, but some things I love doing right now, it's because I was exposed to when I was a kid. I think it's great to put it, but how you write it and how engaging you are and how those experiences connect with the ultimate goal that is studying the program. So I don't know. I went to a grad science fair when I was at high school and I fell in love with the rockets, whatever. And that inspired me to now follow a graduate degree in space studies because I want to learn more about the stars. I don't know. I think, in my opinion, if there's something really that changed me and trigger me, that a willingness to pursue something related to a program I want, I would write it, but it's the way how you do it. That's it. Yeah. So that's a great thing we were talking about. Just show it to a friend, to other people. Because as I said, my daughter was writing something and I said, well, what do you want to say here? And then my husband got another idea. So she likes structure because she wants everyone to get the same message.
Yeah, I think it's great to I know it's funny because I was thinking about my own statement of purpose for graduate school and I talked about my grandmother when I was younger. That was my first. because I think I had that on a slide and I didn't really touch on it. We can think of a statement of purpose in terms of past, present, future. So what happened in the past that really made you want to get interested in your field? What are you doing now? And then what do you hope to do? So I think, wow, and I'm trying to think of other ways to start your statement of purpose other than, yeah, like, why did you come, tell us about yourself, why do you want to do this program? So I think, yes, talking about childhood experiences is great. It's just whatever. And, maybe it isn't your childhood though. Maybe something happened 2 years ago that really got you interested in this. Maybe you changed your major, something like that. Yeah, definitely starting with the past is always okay.
Thank you. That was helpful. So I want to touch now on the matter of goals. You had mentioned, I think Erica mentioned, including goals in your statement of purpose. So could you both elaborate on, what level of detail do we need to go into goals? Are we talking about, just after the program, work experience just after the program, or 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line? Are we talking about academic goals and professional goals? How much detail do we go into? Do we mention job, titles or examples of companies we want to work for, and all of that? So what are your recommendations on writing goals in a statement of purpose?
I think if you know that you want to be, I don't know, the head of an engineering company or something, like if there is something extremely specific that you want that to be your end goal, then I would definitely put it in. But not everyone's going to know that. So I think having just like research goals. I want to come to your university because I want to do research with this faculty, and I hope to work on, this project. And just kind of knowing, in 2 years where you want to be is completely fine too. I think it's just having just a sense of self and just kind of knowing, exactly what you want to get out of the program.
Yeah, same here. Like as I was talking about the space thing. Okay, I would like to enroll in this program because I want to learn more how the stars align. I don't know, something like that, and then do research on the asteroids to help measure this and that, and then maybe specific of working in a company with a specific title. Maybe I will keep it to myself, but like more in general being, as he was saying, specific, but not that very specific, like putting the name of the company in the position. Maybe that's too much detail, in my opinion, no? But, okay, I would like to do, for example, take this class on cancer treatment because I would like to collaborate with the industry to discover more antidotes for this, and that, for example. So having concrete examples, but also, like I always tell the student, if you, for example, if you want to do a PhD and a professor investigating and researching about something, try to see what he's doing and how you can help him achieve the goal too. And also, if that's your goal, and help him achieve that, so he will welcome you also in the program because you are in that together. So that's one of the things. And as you were saying, connect with the faculty, research about the university and the professors. I always say it doesn't hurt to contact them, and for example, at Rice, we are the professors are very close to the student body. So that's a good thing. And we receive a lot of inquiries from students wanting to talk about PhDs. And although I manage professional masters, I then connect them with the specific professor. And I always tell that because the great thing about it is that when they receive the application, okay, this is the guy that contacts with me. So he already knows, puts a face on the application, and oh, this guy has interest because he contacted me like several times. So that's a thing I would do also if I want to apply.
Okay, thank you. That was helpful. I just want to encourage audience members, participants. This is a great opportunity to get questions about writing the statement of purpose answered directly by university representatives. So don't lose this opportunity. Do write in. I've got a couple of questions from the audience, so I will put my own questions on hold. One is, you had mentioned putting in details about the university, about why you choose a specific program and university. The question is, do I need to mention the name of any particular professor in my statement of purpose?
Say you need to, but if you know someone, then definitely put their name in there. I think if it's for PhD, you probably would want to put a couple names, just because they're going to pick you based on if that professor has available room. So normally for PhDs, we say to maybe even inquire about 3 different faculty members that you would want to work with. But for master's programs, I would say it's definitely not, it's definitely not needed. If there is someone that you have read about that you're really excited, to have a class with or something, then I think that would be okay to mention.
Yes, same as Erica.
Okay, in your talks, you mentioned asking the university about what kind of SOP they are expecting. This is written by a question written by one of our participants. Can you specify whom I should contact?
So usually for example, on the applications, it depends on the university. They say, okay, write an essay answering these specific questions. Okay, so they say how you overcame something, blah, blah, blah. So you have to talk about that, not talk about your grandma that inspires, something related to that. Or if they say, talk about what inspired you to do this. Okay, just focus on that and write about that. Because if you are not answering the question they ask, you are not following before even starting the program, the main question. So that will, sound strange. And also, and as I was saying before, on the different university website, because I was looking to see different universities had different ways of talking about the statement of purpose. So read about them, and you can see them. For example, at Rice, it's on the graduate studies website. So I don't know, for example, you, Erica, that you have that green box that you said they do it. Where is it in your site?
That is from our career services, an example for that. But then we do have, if you go on the graduate studies, if you're interested in, MBA, getting a master's in business administration, you can go and you can see what they would prefer for you to write about. I'm pretty sure it's tell us why you're interested in this program, which would be true for many. But yeah, if there isn't one, using the career services website can be helpful too.
Yes, and also it depends on what you would like to pursue. For example, my daughter wants to do musical theater, so it's way different, engineering. So you need to look at that too.
So basically, a lot of this information is on the websites, right? So you don't have to actually contact someone. You can find this information on the website.
That's why research and look, because everything is there. And for example, if you cannot find something, you just reach out to the graduate studies or the administrators, like the Ericas there, the Agustinas there, and we can help you with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, if for example, maybe they're not sure what to write about, they can always reach out and ask if there is a prompt or if there is something specific. I find that we try so hard to make our web pages very easy to navigate, but sometimes students, can't find what they're looking for. So to always, reach out and ask questions.
Yes, do the research first, as she was saying, because some ask very obvious question that it's the first click you do, it's there for the question. So we say, really, didn't you even research about it? So that's the thing. First, try to navigate the website, and then if you can't find it, ask.
Yes.
Thank you. To all our audience members, thank you for your questions. Please keep them coming in. If you are not sure whom to address it to, you can address it directly to me. I have been receiving questions. Thank you. So please keep them coming in. The next question is a general question. What are the things that reviewers watch out for in an SOP? What makes you a hit and what makes you an instant reject, if that's possible?
So when we look at different essays, it's I look like, what's the passion behind it? Do they really want to be here? How really want? Because some, you know, as Erica was mentioning before, like a blanket, like they even write the wrong name of the university, you know. So you need to see like how much detail or how really they put the effort and the passion about it, you know. You need to read that to say, wow, this kid really wants to come here. And he did a lot of things that will help us. So think about what the university is looking for and write about what that you have, what they are looking for. So we can make the match and bring the students. So that's why every university is different. So that's key, trying to answer. And there are some things that you just can perceive from the university or talking to the professor. That's why it's great to attend information sessions. Like, for example, on our programs, we have a lot of information sessions about the programs. And the information sessions, the faculty is there, the director of the program, talking about the program. So you can see on the specific of that program what they are looking for. So try like take notes. Okay, they're looking for teamwork. They want someone coding. So okay, I have to have everything they say, and then try to write it down on the essay. Show them that you have all the skills to pursue that degree.
Yeah, and you know, yeah, we have the webinars too, but like trying to do like a one-on-one with someone. You know, what are you looking for in your lab? What are you looking for in classes? Like Agustina said, don't have the wrong name of the university on your statement of purpose. That's a really big red flag. I also suggest not saying, you can tell when it's a blanket statement of purpose, because it says, I want to apply to your university, you know, like they're just making it as general as they can. Really, yeah, just diving into specifics. Yeah, we can always tell when it isn't something tailored to us specifically.
Thank you. The next question is regarding the timeline. I know that I think Augustina mentioned her daughter's essay has 7 iterations or something like that. So if you are applying for fall 2023, is now too late, or is it all right to start writing the SOP now, and both for a master's applicant and for a PhD applicant?
Well, for example, it depends on the university, but as Deborah was saying, Rice University, the deadline for PhD is either November, like the end of November, or December 1st, maybe January, but so now we are in September, October. My daughter, like she did 7 versions because she polished it every time. Maybe that's the extreme, but but I'm thinking you're okay. Applications open September 1st, and for the masters you have until March or February, depending on the program. But you know, don't leave things until the last minute. Just write something and then let it rest for a week, and then you read it and say, no, that is terrible. So then you change and give it to different people to see if they understand what you want to do. Because as I said, she wrote something that I said, wow, you said this. And my husband was looking at different things. I said, well, maybe clarify, because we are very close and we didn't get it what you wanted to say. So that's another thing. And not only your family and friends, but as Erica was saying, we have the Center for Career Development, faculty that can help you with that. And also, if you, for example, you're at the university and you want to study a professional master in chemical engineering, and you're taking a chemistry class, in undergrad. Reach out that professor and, hey, what do you think about what I am writing? Do you think it would be compelling enough to attract that university? And also, one of the things now talking about this, if you are taking a chemistry class and you want to pursue a professional master in chemistry or a PhD, faculty also have faculties, their friends and different universities. So also, if they can help you connect and talk about you in an informal way, you know, there's a letter of recommendation, but also, hey, I have a very good student. Just connect faculty with faculty. That's another thing you can ask. I would do that if I had to do that.
Yeah. But all these things that Augustina is saying take a little bit of time. So yeah, so just exactly what she said, you know, not waiting to the last minute. Especially if like right now, if you're looking for PhD programs, you should be writing your statement of purpose today, letting it sit, letting other people, you know, check it out. For masters, you have a little bit more time. But yeah, really, you know, really just not waiting on things and making sure you're taking the time to make it as best as you can.
Thank you. For all our audience members, there are a few questions coming in that are more general, based on general information about US university applications. This is a session on writing the statement of purpose, so we will not be addressing those questions. Do reach out to Education USA India or either of the two universities if you have questions like this. If it's a general question, you can reach out to us. But if it's a university-specific question, you can reach out to the universities. We are going to take questions about writing the SOP, so do send those questions in, and we will address those questions. We still have about 15 to 20 minutes left, so you can keep sending them in, and we will take these questions. The next question is on the end of the SOP. So I know you touched on the end, Augustine, in your structure. Could both of you address in more detail what needs to be emphasized at the end? What makes a good, impactful end to an SOP?
Do you want to start, Erica, or I should?
I can, yeah. I think I was trying to remember, because I think we have very similar structures. So we always say, just to kind of, it's weird because it's kind of like any other essay where you're just going to reiterate your points that you made in the entirety of the essay. So just, you know, kind of summarizing what you wrote about, definitely. And then I guess, you know, any other, I'm trying to think if I, you know, I think I'm thinking of more of like cover letters. If you should put, you know, I look forward to, you know, being a part of this university, or, you know, having that positivity, or something like that.
Yes, and I would write the most, as I was saying before, the most important thing you want to say, and it's in a couple of sentences, summarize the story and reinforce the idea that I want to pursue a degree at for example, Rice University and this type of degree. So like because they start reading, and at the end, so that's the thing that, you know, the last thing you read. So based upon like my experience and my professional experience and my academic background in this and that, I think I would be a great fit for this university and will be a great asset for the professional masters in chemical engineering, for example. So 2 sentences summarizing your skills, your passion, and then reinforcing the last words. I would say, like, I would like to attend blah, blah, blah to pursue this degree. So yeah, I would do that. And as I said, it's the last thing and the most important thing that the reader can take. So you have to impress at the beginning, but then keep go back and say, yes, I'm very impressive. I'm very enthusiastic. I want to go to your university.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We now have a specific case of a student who, but you know, these things do happen here. A student who has what is called backlogs, which mean in India, that you have failed a certain number of exams. So in this case, they failed 5 exams. They have since retaken the exams and have, managed to score adequately in the retaken exams. Their overall GPA and GRE scores are good, but they do have this on their record that they have failed 5 exams, though they now have cleared the exams. So what happens in this case? Is it, are they directly rejected out of hand by a university, or can they explain this? Should they explain this in the SOP?
For example, what I would do is, first of all, we have some students, and I also like to see when the faculty reviews, usually it depends on, like, they fail, they need to tell the story, what's happened there and how they overcome. And I think that's the beauty of it, that despite all the problem he had, like not passing the exams and then achieving the goal, he overcome. So that's a positive thing. You can turn that negativity into a positive thing, saying something happened, I failed, but I had my strength, and I overcome this problem, and now I have a GPA of. So, for example, it depends on the university, but for example, at Rice, the GPA is 3.0 or more, no? So yes. If he's 3.0 or more, but has that failing grades, so you need to explain that. But the thing is, for example, if you want to do coding, like computer science and coding, and you fail computer science, well, really explain. But if you want to do, I don't know, liberal arts, museums history, and then you fail in math, it's okay. But if there's you need to tell why that happened. And usually when I was reviewing some applications with faculty, they were looking out, usually the first year students have to adjust. So if they see they fail, they don't care that much, depending on the classes too. But you need to explain, because if you're going to do a engineering degree and you fail all the engineering classes, well, you overcome them, but you need to really explain to show them, I had this problem, but now it's okay. So, and then after you overcome that problem and all your grades were great, that shows the continuity. And we not only look at the grades, we look at the whole picture. So that's one of the things. People can have different times and difficult times, and we all have that. So we understand, and that's why universities do a holistic approach when reviewing applications. So that's very important. So don't be afraid. And I am the one that, don't be afraid of applying anywhere, where you like. Just apply. You will see your ability, but don't be afraid of applying. And usually, this is a trick. Sometimes if you go to information sessions, they give you application fee waivers for graduate studies. So take advantage of that. Everyone you would like to. And then if they accept you, it's great. If not, no. But try to do not limit yourself because of this, Sorry, I talked too much.
No, I mean, that's exactly how we look at it too, where so like, say you're applying to computer science, are your backlogs in computer science, or are they in, like your humanities classes? But then also, if you retook them and they're better, then that's great. Yeah. Again, like, the 3.0 we also look for. And then are you going to submit GREs? Were they really good? Is everything else looking great? So it is holistic. But mentioning it and what you learned from it. And, just like Augustina said, you took these classes and then you had an amazing GPA since then. So, what happened in that time?
Yes, and also, while we are talking, the one-on-one sessions Erica was mentioning with the faculty, and you can have that if you ask. Also, for example, I don't know, they will tell you, oh, you don't have that much coding experience. Why don't you take now a couple of coding courses, so it will put you the same level of the student. So like the prereqs, before. So that's why if you are thinking of doing a graduate program, why don't you meet with the faculty in advance, plan ahead, So you can organize yourself and take, okay, I have everything they need. They already know, they know me. And some programs are not like very big, so they already know who you are and they can relate when the application comes.
Thank you. We now have a question about the balance of information in the SOP. How much emphasis does one give to, the academic experience versus work experience? What weightage or emphasis should we give to each of these? And how does this divide up?
Wow. I think it depends. I think it depends on the program, and I think it depends on what you have. So some students might not have any professional experience, so we really need to focus on the academics, and that's all you can really focus on. I can think of one specific program at Binghamton. We have a data analytics program, and they require work experience. They want at least 1 year. 2 years is preferred, but at least 1 year. So he would like to see some work experience put in the statement of purpose. But that's like specifically, again, it's laid out on the website, what are you with the different requirements and kind of what he's looking for. So I think it's fine to be a mix, or if you have gone, for me personally, when I went back to graduate school, it had been a while since I went to school. So I really only had professional experience to speak to. So I just think it depends on where you are in your life, and when you've gone to school, and exactly just what experience you have.
Yes, as Erica was saying, it depends on the program. Like an executive MBA, you should have some work experience.
Yeah.
But for example, on the professional masters at Rice University here, the one at the School of Engineering, we have students that come out of college, and we have students that have a lot of working experience. So we don't, depending on the program and the cohort, we try to balance that. But from 24 to 49 or 50, we have students from all of ages and experience. And I think that's the beauty of it. Learning from the other ones, feeling young, those different things.
I think that like the graduate director will look at that too. Like, let's get a range of experiences in here. So they do want the students that are coming right from undergrad, but then they also, they want those late learners, or those, non-traditional learners. They kind of do look for a mix of that.
Yes, and also if you are like 23, you cannot be asked for a lot of experience, It depends. Yep. Like if you are 50 and you never work, that's suspicious, but
but it isn't like one size fits all kind of thing. It's not, we're not going to look for amazing academic experiences and no professional. It's just going to be a mix of whatever works for the student. Thank you.
We've had a couple of different questions on the same theme. This is the matter of if a student is changing their major. So we've got one example from mechanical to aerospace, another from mechanical engineering to data science. So if a student is changing their major from their undergraduate major and changing in their to a different field in their master's, what is your advice for the SOP, and how do they justify their shift in the SOP?
So what I would say is what's the first thing that trigger your willingness to study that program you are applying to? So that's like what's happened, like from mechanical engineering to data science. What's happened there that triggered you to pursue a degree in data science? And for some programs, you have to have like engineering background, and that's it. It doesn't matter which field. It's the critical thinking, the way of thinking. So unless it's very specific, the program, for example, at the data science, they have to have a BS and a BA in engineering, but then the rest, it depends on the on the coursework. And some, for example, programs, students in the data science program that they need some coding, they take like a summer course to catch up with the rest. So, but I think going back to the statement of purpose is what triggered you to change that, and tell the story, because it's not like you were studying and then you went do something nothing to do. So think about the program you want to achieve, what triggered to do that. And that's the main objective of the statement of purpose. Tell your story, show your passion, and tell them why you really want to be in that program and how you will stand out. I think it's a great thing that you know different things and you will add value to the program. So think about all the things I've done. How can I stand out, as Erica was saying? What is my added value? You will have to, like, I would write, I will be great in your program. I will be the best and I will make the program great. So make them feel, oh, I read this, I want to admit him right now.
Yeah, agreed. That's what I was going to say too. Just how is it? Yeah, you have a different background, and what are you bringing from that background to this new program that you want to take? Yep, definitely.
Thank you. We have 9 minutes left, so we'll try and wrap up with just a few more questions. This is your last chance, students, to send questions in. Another question that came up is if we mention specific professors' names in the statement of purpose, do we need to have contacted them beforehand, or can we mention them without having contacted them? And I guess this answer could be different for master's and PhD programs, if you could address it from both perspectives.
I think if you did your, so I think if you did some research and you had found a couple faculty members and mentioning them, that would be fine. I think, like you said, for PhD, probably reaching out to them and talking to them would be better than like, oh, this student wants to work with me. Okay. Just because that's going to give you a better chance for them to recognize you, once you submit your application and your statement of purpose. I think for like an example that I could think of, we have a Nobel Prize winner in chemistry at our university. And so I have seen a student just be like, oh, I'm so excited to come to this university that has Stanley Whittingham. So they just, they're name dropping, but not necessarily that they want to work with him. But I think like having an awareness of faculty and that are at the university and kind of what they've accomplished is a good idea.
Yes, same here. Like, I wish I could work in the lab or blah, blah, blah. Then I would contact the professor the same, but if there's no space or depending on, so I don't know how does it work at your university, Erica, but depending on the program is that maybe students rotate and then they stay with a faculty, or maybe they are assigned a faculty before even coming, or then they shop around and pick a faculty that has availability. So it depends on the program. So maybe he wants to work with XX professor, but that's not the way it works in the university in that particular field. So that's one of the things you need to research and attending sessions and talk to the graduate, study and like the people like us in the programs. So to make sure, because maybe you go because you know that you think you're going to work with that person and then no. So make sure before investing time and yes.
Because I mean, for masters, I mean, you can definitely say, I'm interested in these professors, and they're not going to base your admission on that because, okay, that's great. And then maybe the professors will read that and be like, oh, you can be an RA or a TA or something like that. But with the PhD programs, for us specifically, yes, if there isn't a space, then they cannot take more. Yeah, they can't take more than what is available.
Thank you. The next question is about this idea of best fit. Is it possible to, is it all right to align your background and your interests with the university as a whole, or should it be angled towards a specific department you're applying to, or can you also align your interests with the general ethos and philosophy of the university as a whole? What's your advice on that?
I would do both. I would do both, but I would do both, but then specifically of the program too, like in general, but then talk to the program. I don't know. It's about like teamwork, critical thinking. Oh, I'm a great teamwork. Like, so I will align everything I know to the specific of the program. That's how the brainstorming thing, and throwing everything you have, and then like picking like what is best for this university. Okay, I will go this way. What is great for this program? I will go that way. So it's not like just throwing the same essay. It's very targeted, because if you really want to go, you need to be very strategic about it. So I think I would, if you tell me, I would do both.
Yeah, no, same. Like if you write a statement of purpose and you have information in there about how Binghamton University and the surrounding area looks great to you, and if you say something specific about the area then that's really good. Like not only are you interested in this program, but you're going to be happy living here, and you're going to be happy with the whole university. But yeah, so both would be great.
Okay, so we're going to do 2 last questions. So we'll try to keep this brief if possible. One is going back to the matter of contacting professors and mentioning their names rather. Should you mention, if you are going to mention names, is it all right to mention just one, or should you mention 2 or 3 names in the SOP?
I think master's versus PhD, because your master's program isn't going to be dependent on that. So I would, for the master's, I would say, 1 to 3 is fine, because then maybe that's going to up your chances for an RA or a TA position if they look at your work, if they look at your statement of purpose and they're interested in working with you. For PhD, because it is more competitive, having at least a couple on there would be a really good idea that you would want to work with.
Yes, and adding to what Erica says, like the thesis master is okay, but the professional masters, for example, if you don't name a faculty, it's okay. You can just name the department, talk about what the research areas of the department in general. But usually, for example, professional masters are for students that want to specialize on something and then go to work in the industry. So just talk about what you can get from the department as a whole. It doesn't matter if you don't name a faculty, because you can take classes for any of the faculty and you will not be admitted. Like, for example, sometimes if there's a student that only wants to work with blah, blah, blah professor, and the professor is not accepting anything, as you were saying, the Nobel Prize is not even teaching or doing anything. So that will narrow down a lot his possibilities. But so throwing a couple, but on the professional masters, we have essays that don't even name them, and it's okay.
Yeah. Yep.
But this is something I will repeat and repeat and repeat. If you're here, it's great, because you're in the info session and you're learning how to write the statement. But attend the info sessions of the universities. We have a lot of students that register and then don't show up. And it's a pity, because there are some info sessions that are maybe small, and maybe you are the only one with the faculty, or maybe there are a couple of students, and you get very close and you get a lot of information that can help you. And then you get connected with the faculty. So I think those are great opportunities. So don't be shy, write them, connect with us. And if you have any questions about Rice or any university, like I can help you, we help a lot students. Overcome your shyness, who cares? And, just tell them you would like to be part of it.
Mm-hmm. All right, one very last question. On which to end. A lot of students have very similar profiles, because they have come from the same college, all done, a final year project, all done 2 internships, things like that. What is your one tip in brief, in one sentence, to stand out and show uniqueness compared to your fellow students?
Oh man, one sentence.
So I think, well, not one sentence, but what is something unique? Like everyone should know about what's the unique. Like GPA, maybe everyone has a GPA. I don't know. I went to the moon, or not like that, but I did something extraordinary, not very common, or I have some special gifts. Like what's unique? Like I went to that university and we have a lot of students. So think about, like, as I said, the reflection, what's the unique from you? And you feel unique with that. And the way you write it and express can give the impression to the reader that that's very unique, you know? So I think it's also the persuasion. So it's a lot of psychology behind the statement of purpose.
Also, I mean, if you have some time before you have to apply, before you want to go to graduate school, you can start thinking of something that might set you apart from others. What's something that what's an internship I could do this semester? What's a class I could take that's different to set you apart from everybody else?
Great. Thank you so much, Augustina and Erica, for that wonderful session. Thank you for patiently taking all these many questions that we've had, both from myself and from the students in our audience. As we said before, do feel free to contact Rice University, Binghamton University. Do attend their information sessions as was recommended. And of course, if you have general questions, do contact EducationUSA. I just want to thank all of you for attending this session. We wish you all the best with your studies and your applications. And a big thanks to Aditi and Amita, who have been supporting me behind the scenes with the technical aspects of the session. So once again, thank you all and have a great day wherever you are.